Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be bringing you all the top stories from all things weather. That includes weather in the sky, weather in the ground, weather in the stars, weather in our hearts. I'm going to give you a little quick update on all of those things. So let me start by sharing my screen. I've never done this before. It's up, y'all. It's the third month that we are in this podcast. Aren't you excited? I know I sounded a little negative about the outlook of the podcast last night and in the card part, but I think really that was just a sign to me that I need to actually do something different about my lack programming and about my lack of an abundance mindset. I really just need to actually take myself seriously and believe that this is going to work, because I feel like on some level I don't actually think this is going to work out, and it's just, self-fulfilling prophecies. Speaking of which, let's take a look at our astrology for today, because we've got a strong well, that's actually not strong. A very weak moon in Scorpio today, debilitated and opposing Uranus and Taurus, kind of roughly squaring Venus in Aquarius. And we had Venus in Leo all summer, and that's where we had that big Venus retrograde last summer. And she's now opposing that placement, kind of going inwards of what's if Leo is like what we're posting about, the Aquarius is the poster. It's the person online. It's the fandom. It's the fanfare. We're going very hard into our fanfare mode, in our web mode, and I encourage everyone to not forget the Leo individuality in that, and not try to blend in with the herd of what everybody else likes just because they like the same parts of things that you do. Try to branch out and still independently savor every bit of life that you like, regardless of what other people are liking out of it. Do I have anything else I want to talk about? I guess not. I've gone over a lot of this in previous days. I guess I will mention that we are in a Venus day during a Venus hour, and I did wait to broadcast until we were on a Venus day and a Venus hour, so that's why it's a little later than usual. Sorry about that. One thing I didn't go over yesterday was sorry, let me silence my phone. There's like a new group chat I got added to that has been going off right as I started broadcasting. So okay. Oh man, there's voice messages and everything. Oh God. Yeah, that's going to be a great one to wake up to, but not for during my broadcast. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that, y'all. Had to. Nobody's here yet, so it'll be fine. I'll edit that out. I might have a manager soon. I'm trying to recruit a mommy manager. I'm trying to recruit a career mom. So. Not my mom. She's, raising me is a whole career, but I need somebody to make my career their career. So, trying to recruit a Susie from Mrs. Maisel type to break my little broadcasts up into skits. Sketches. No. What are the kids calling them? Shorts? TikToks? I don't even know. I got to get people to put this in short form videos. Okay, so yesterday on Leap Day on February 29th, there was an update from the Icelandic Meteorological Office about an eruption could start with very little warning at any minute. Any minute now. This is the newest inflation data. They added some cute little, a square means a dike. I've never seen, dikes aren't square to me, but okay. Dikes would be more of the pentagram, but they chose to put the pentagram, the star as the eruptions. They've got a continual elevated risk for all of these zones, including the new zone, Zone 7. That's just the Swiss cheese zone now. And that's kind of a update from the 27th, where we looked and saw the new swarm of earthquakes around the Sudnukskigar crater area, and they issued these potential lava flow maps. This is the one where if we have a eruption here on this black line between the Silingerfeld and Storskogafeld hills, they named their hills down there. That's pretty wild. That's the likely lava flow path that we're looking at. And then if we get one on the other side of Hagafell, so not between these two areas, but further south and east a little bit. That is where we're looking at the lava pouring into Grindavik. So there's two different eruption zones possible. They've modeled it for if we erupt near the January eruption or if we erupt near the February and December eruptions. So I guess that's the extent of what I want to talk about there. I do also want to mention the tides. I've been looking at and looking up the correlation of eruptions and tidal progressions, because I want to show you it looks to me like the earthquakes are having somewhat periodic oscillations, like little bursts of 12 hours, then 12 hours quiet, then 12 hours on, then 12 hours off. And I was trying to see, does this line up with the tides at all? I guess we are on Saturday now. Let's put this on. Oh, I was looking up a different day. Let's look at today. March 1st. No, let's look at March 2nd. No, let's look at the 1st. Well, okay. What I've been seeing is on the past few eruptions, we were on the increase of the tidal coefficient, and the tidal coefficient is a that's a really appealing ad. The tidal coefficient is a coefficient or a multiplier that helps you figure out how high and low the high and low tides are going to be. And it actually has to do with lunar position. I know that a lot of people don't want to believe that earth sciences have anything to do with planetary motions, but screw that. It's not scientific to deny that kind of science. The tidal fishermen and observers of the tides have noticed for years something called the solar lunar effect, and this is a website. Tides for Fishing is a website that actually takes it into account, and they mark the types of the levels of lunar coefficient high tide. It's both a function of, if I remember correctly, the moon phase and where that phase falls in line with the apogee and perigee point. And if you remember me over the past few weeks saying that I thought that maybe a moon square the sun would be where we get our next eruption, but I'm also thinking that this moon opposite, I mean the sun opposite Black moon Lilith, which we know is the apogee point, or the point where the moon is the physical furthest away from the Earth in its orbit. I'm wondering if that means that since we'll be at equal distance from opposite and the sun and equal to, what I'm getting at is I feel like it could either be the 3/4 moon or the new moon that triggers this response now, because I'm thinking that maybe when I'm looking back at tidal coefficients, I remember that new moon and full moons increase the tidal coefficients the most. And I think the new moon is when we're looking at new moon is going to be in a couple days. So it'll be the lowest at the new moon. Tidal coefficient will be the highest when we get into the first quarter moon here in the moon in Gemini. So I think it really could be, it could wait all the way till next week when we got, now I'm not saying anything about the groundwater effect on the lava flow. I am saying, or on the shifting of the magma chambers. I am saying that it's really funny to me that we're getting such periodic eruptions and earthquake swarms. I just find it fascinating that we are about to go from a period of extremely low tidal coefficient to extremely high tidal coefficient, where these are going to be some of the lowest and highest tides that we see. Actually, look, we got some of the best periods of the year for fishing today at 1720 and 1920. This is probably something that has to do with opposite lunar transit. Okay, there's a lot that we can go into, and I'm not going to do a title update every time, but let's just leave it at the tides don't have nothing to do with these earthquakes. So they are at very least coincident, meaning these incidents occurred at the same time. Co-occurring incidents, coincident. Okay, let's move on to look at our global earthquakes for today. Well, I guess I should show today's volcanoes first. I'm going to start with volcanoes first, because we're really looking at earthquakes because we're looking at volcanoes. I like to think that all these websites I frequent are actually increasing in their features, because I give them such consistent views every day that they're able to use some targeted ad money to increase their quality of products. Like, they didn't have that ticker of news up there earlier. Lewitobi alert status lowered to 2. Let's see. Let's look at Friday, March 1st news. Ooh. Okay. Lewitobi Laki crater. That's some new imagery of it, of the lava flow. You can see where it just penetrated that forest and really fans out, burning the trees and also creating new earth for new trees to be born in. Oh, that's a good view of Popo. Okay. That is a good view of the way that an ash plume can distribute itself in the atmosphere. Got continued volcanic activity at Lewitobo, but decreasing in strength. Let's see. Tucono, Popo. Intense activity at the volcano continues. I can't wait to see what we do, what happens next. Looking pretty standard. It looks like we've downgraded a few. Okay, yeah, they've got Kilauea and Rearcast in downgraded to minor activity again. And I think that's what took their ticker from 28 to 22. Volcanoes actively erupting. There's just mostly in dormant states. Take a look at our latest quakes now. We had a 5.9 in the Arabian Sea near Yemen. 5 magnitude 5 quakes or higher. Let's see, this was 11 hours ago. Well, that's not the one I'm looking at. Owen Fracture Zone region. This would be located at this lat long. There's also one here near Somalia. I want to see the detailed info on this Yemen earthquake. Because as we know, there's an ongoing onslaught of violence in the region at the hands of oppressors. And one can only hope that this is more fortuitous events by Mother Nature to aid the liberation of people being oppressed. But, sometimes it's just out here in the middle of nowhere. It's not quite a 6. It's a who felt it? 2 people in Yemen felt it, and they didn't have. Do they have any descriptions? No. Vertical swinging up and down, light shaking. All right. Well, there was something out here. Let's also take a look at. Jeez. This is what I get. I get these targeted ads. I start talking about people surviving, and I just get prepper ads. Continued activity here in Xinjiang and in the Afghanistan-Tajikistan border region, here in southern Iran, also all the way through Turkey. We've had 4s rippling through Turkey and Greece and Italy. Or actually, this is not Greece. This is technically Bosnia and Herzegovina and Italy. And then quite a bit of activity throughout all of southern Mexico and Central America. Then an increase in, matter of fact, this is such a good increase. I'm going to take us to our Geoscope, our other earthquake browser we use sometimes. Earthscope Consortium, that's what it's called. Oh, look at this. We had a deep quake here in Argentina. This is a 614 kilometer deep earthquake, a 4.4, but that is on the other side of the planet as these deep quakes that we keep seeing come up in the Fiji region. This is, well, let me make sure I've got the right start time. Let me make sure I've got the right start and end times before I start analyzing this, because I'm just getting excited for no reason. From yesterday to latest available. Data sources all. I'm going to upgrade to Earthquake Pro soon. Earthquake 3D Pro soon, but not yet. Fiji Islands region, magnitude 5.8, extremely deep and extremely strong. Let's take a look at Let's take a look at Earthquake 3D and see if these were on the opposite sides of the planet from each other. Because they could be. They could be. See, inside. Okay. Okay. Which one was the very deep? Well, this is generally the region. It's okay, yeah. So the opposite side of the planet from oh god, okay, sorry, my fucking mouse control is off. Opposite side of the planet from Argentina is right here in the area between China, Taiwan, and the Philippines. So I don't know why North Americans always say dig to China. North Americans would be digging to the middle of the Pacific, the middle of the South Pacific. Okay, anyway. So what we looked at there is just to say that this area is on the opposite side of the planet of this area. And then basically on two sides of the planet, we have really deep earthquakes coming in from under and out of the plate. We've got continued shallow 4.5s here and 5s off the coast of Japan, and earthquakes rippling through the Arabian Peninsula. They don't show the one here in they don't show any from Turkey or Bosnia Herzegovina in this mapping. I'm not really sure which sources the other one is using that this is not, but they're not showing anything on the official reports here on Earthscope, but they were showing reports over on Volcanoes Today's Earthquake Reporter feature. Now, I'm not commenting on any of that. I mean, I made a comment. I'm just not editorializing upon that comment. We saw more earthquakes in Idaho, continued earthquakes off the coast of Oregon, California border, and even more quakes rippling through the middle of the United States, usually through that same path that we saw. I guess this Illinois one is the one from yesterday, right? Yeah, that's from yesterday. These Tennessee ones are from yesterday. Interesting that we don't see the one in North Carolina anymore. Still seeing a lot of earthquakes in western Texas and New Mexico. So while we're on the subject of Texas, let me remember to pull up okay, where'd all the earthquakes go? Where all the earthquake? Okay. Let me remember to pull up a map of, let's do a 24-hour loop, seeing if there's any sort of visible. I'm going to go to visible instead of geocolor. No, I want to see something fire temperature. See. Nah, it just doesn't work very well in the nighttime, so not showing me any of that. Not showing a whole lot of wildfire on this. Let me see. I know there's a good wildfire bandwidth on here. Okay, I'm going to put up our sandwich RGB while I look for this, because I know I've seen a good which radar bandwidth will give me fire and smoke map. Is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. Okay. Well, trust me. Just source. Just trust me, bro. Let's look at these really dry maps. Really warm air masses here, obviously. Duh. Okay, I swear I just found a really cool map for... I want to see... All right. I'm getting to it. Where's my fire radar? I know that we have this. I know we have the technology. And I know that it sucks on this website. Fire temperature, but make it 48 hours. It just doesn't want to show me anything. What the hell? Okay, I'm sorry. What the hell, Noah? Why aren't you showing me the wildfire data? They don't want us to know. It's so easy when you're dumb scientists to just say they don't want us to know. Okay, I found some imagery from the Call of Duty page, but like I can't recreate the imagery, so I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know which exact band of the radar they're displaying and all these images they're giving to the newspapers. Show fire. Show me fire. Fire. Nah, doesn't even want to do that. Okay, I'll get to it later. But the wildfires are still not contained in Texas, Oklahoma, or Nebraska. We're still looking at some... Here you can see some blooming of that plume from there. You also see some linear... You can almost see the lines of really mixed particle. Okay. Let's just look at it on Zoom Earth, because they're going to show us where the fires are. The rest of the country saw some nice soaking rain today. The eastern part of the country saw a lot of good cold soaking rains. Unfortunately, we didn't get any cold or soaking rains up in the wildfire area. We are looking at 20% contained for the Windy Deuce fire. The Windy Deuce fire, not anything to do with farts at all. Magenta fire is 85% contained. Smokehouse Creek fire is still 0% contained, and the Grapevine Creek fire is now 60% contained. So the crews there are hard at work working on containing these fires, but not for nothing. It is burning over 1 million acres, and I've read reports that say that this is the second largest wildfire in recorded Texas state history. Now, that's recorded history. If you believe the history records, if you believe that recorded history is the only history that exists, this is the second largest fire. But if you believe there's more history, this is just the largest fire that the modern history keepers recognize as happening. We've still got a lot of snow happening throughout the Sierras and inland California, still getting a big onslaught of wind from the Pacific, but this is getting more northern air in there. There's less of the Pineapple Express. Actually, they're getting no air directly from the Pacific, and they're only getting moisture from this just offshore of California area. So at least there's not as much high temperature for the clouds to work with. There's not as high of a temperature blowing. In order to, a higher temperature would pick up more water. So if the air blows over the higher temperature areas, it will pick up more water and dump more water on California. And fortunately, they're not seeing that. They are getting a good bit of snow, though. So that's good for those who are counting on the snowpack. The one up in Nebraska is 98% contained. So we're doing a little better than we were. We're doing slightly better on the wildfire front in the central United States. But still, this is a really early start to wildfire season. This is not what's supposed to happen. Take a look at the rest of the world. Where's it raining in the rest of the world is what I want to know. You see the nice terrarium effect, the rainforest greenhouse effect. Beautiful. It's a good greenhouse effect in this case, keeping it nice and moist in Brazil, even though there are hundreds of acres of land being sold off to terrible monoculture, industrial monocultures where they grow only one thing in one field and destroy the microbial ecosystem of the soil. But at least it's pretty hard to destroy the rainforest because it's pretty complex. Now, we're doing our best at it, though. There is some wildfire also around equatorial Africa from here we're in, let me see. Oh, you don't want to give me, okay, yeah. In South Sudan, the north of South Sudan, and in the eastern part of South Sudan on the Ethiopian border, here in the northern part of the Congo, and in Cameroon and the Central African Republic, we're having some wildfires. And speaking of rainforest, you can see in the Congo, unfortunately, there's a lot of oppression going on there as well right now. State oppression, trying to crack down on people just living their lives. But there is still a thriving rainforest there that's really hard to kill. There is a lot of earth resources locked up in keeping that a rainforest. So we do still see it spawning its own storms. That's what we should see over a rainforest. We should see rainforests spawning their own storms. That's the sign of like a healthy terrarium rainforest ecosystem. Over here where we've seen a lot of what was I going to say? Where we've seen a lot of volcanic activity, we have a lot of chaotic clouds, as would be expected. And here in Japan, it looks like that swirling low has moved off to the north and it's headed towards the Aleutian Islands. We're getting quite a bit of snow throughout most of the higher elevations of Japan and in Korea, in the North Korea, South Korea border, if you believe in that. And we're getting some snow off the coast of Anchorage, where they are still seeing some eruptions, or I'm sorry, not eruptions, earthquakes, minor earthquakes. Let's go now to check out our solar weather, because we've zoomed through the rest of this. Why not zoom through the rest of it? We've zoomed through the previous bit. Why not? Oh, we've got high density right now, so that's why I feel like I'm doing. Y'all, I swear, when the density is low, I feel bad and tired. And when the solar density is high, I feel on fire. I feel powerful. Look at that density. These peaks have been so random, yet so needed. And as you can see, it almost has an inverse effect on the wind speed, but not exactly. The wind speed is also a function of the momentum, so it wouldn't like immediately. Any wind speed is a function of density and all the other factors that brought the wind to that point. So a density change isn't going to immediately change the wind speed, but a sustained density change would. But you know what I'm saying? They should be reciprocal, but they're not exactly, which is why I do take a little bit of issue of the modeling from the SWPC. Anyway, we are looking at a very strong southward component in the interplanetary magnetic field, and the magnetometers out of Europe are indicating that they've gotten a few waves of some incoming solar radiation, some solar energy. So I would think that that means that there's a pretty good auroral chance for anybody in those higher latitudes tonight. KP index is still pretty low, but the hemispheric power is really high. And our observed disturbance storm time is above our predicted. So let's take a look at the actual solar activity rather than just looking at the impact it has on the auroral activity. Huh. Getting sleepy. I try to broadcast these when the day and hour are on the same planet, but it's getting late for that sync up. Take a look at our solar flares the past 2 hours. And we can see that we're still in the really low C range. Really, like, the cap is on. We're really pressing down. I have no explanation for like these negative asymptotes, these negative vertical asymptotes that go like really low dips in X-rays. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to pretend I do, but we've seen really, really low X-ray days the past 3-4 days, ever since we saw those 3 X-class flares in a row. We've seen some really decreased X-ray flux. So, and again, flux is a word that means flowing through. Like a flux is a unit of measure through a square area, like how much is passing through per time through a certain area. So when I say X-ray flux, I mean how many X-rays are flowing through one little square meter of space at a time. Let's take a look at our coronal mass ejections. Still only at 4. Huh. Still pretty low. I did finally get this image to pull up earlier in the day, so let me see if it'll pull up now. Okay, maybe, wait, maybe we can look at these images. Okay, perhaps we can look at the coronal mass ejection images. No. Okay. Don't want to pull up anything. That's fine. That is fine. It is totally fine. If you don't want to show me any images, that's okay. Let's take a look at our pretty picture images then. As you see, 3590 has rotated off to the western limb of the sun. 3595 still in a beta gamma orientation. I'm not sure 3592 and 3598 are separate anymore. This looks like one big line of storms. And we got 3599 rotating onto the limb, and the next one should be coming from this upper region, and it should be really active. Yeah, look at that. We've got that last little waving bye-bye from 3590, saying bye. Let me try loading. Just this one image. Just give me one image. We have the fastest internet possible. How are you not loading? Okay, yeah. Just giving the post flare waving bye-bye to the Earth's facing disk. Got lots of little mini crackles going on, but not much happening except for we're looking for 3599 to be our next big player, I think. Let's take a look at the composite. Yeah, you can see it ripple out. That was the end of that coronal mass ejection that came from 3590, and it's rotating away. And then we see a big region coming into view. So don't give up hope yet, folks. This is a really active sun that just hasn't done much in a while. Even our X-class flares didn't give us any big coronal mass ejections. So everybody holding their breath for some sort of cataclysmic event. Sorry, not you're just find some peace and joy and happiness in your lives somewhere else without thinking that there's going to be a world-ending event. I think some people wish for doom because they're too afraid to wish for death, you know? Whoa, that was a hot take. Okay. Let's see. We are now in a Mercury hour of the Venus day. We're in the last hour of Venus day for me. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this on stream and pick out one little card, one little optimistic card for us. All right. Got my little selenite. If you're sleepy in the comments, let me hear you say, hey. We're all a little sleepy. It was today's weather, but now it's tonight. It was kind of sleepy weather here today. Kind of sleepy, rainy, like, I can't wait to get back to bed kind of weather. Matter of fact, I think I'm pulling that card right now. Look, it's got little sleepy, rainy weather. People walking under a rainy umbrella on it. And it says, through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with the determination that I will not settle for less than feeling good. Can't even get that until you feel good without that. You just got to feel good first and it will come. I mean, it won't necessarily always come, but like you wouldn't be able to enjoy the thing coming anyway. The corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. You gotta follow your joy in order to find what you truly want, and maybe you don't really want it if it's not aligned with what brings you joy. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Look at the little quotation marks. Most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with determination that says, I will not settle for less than feeling good. Very important. Very important. All right. That is going to do it for me and you today. It's time for us to follow our joy into sleepy bedtime. That nice, happy feeling of crawling into bed and feeling sleepy. So, have a great evening. I love you all very much. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. And until then, stay safe, stay joyful, stay joyful, and have a great evening. Okay, goodbye. Good night. Bye. Goodbye now. Bye.